Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you some more Crash Landing. Last time, I got a bunch more done with the Steve's Factory Manager and did a couple of quests for PneumaticCraft. Between last time and now, I've installed those, you can see them right here, pressure chamber interfaces. Now, in my experimentation with these, I was not able to interact with them by hand. However, I can easily feed into the input with a hopper and out of the output with an item duct. Now, I wanted to keep the output targetable, so I can right-click on it and change around the filter, which is why I'm using the item duct there instead of another hopper. And also, I already had the item ducts, so why not? And I moved one of the windows over here so that I could see inside. Now, the next quest along the chain wants me to, requires a little bit more compressed iron than I have, as I currently have 0. So I'm going to make one. To do that, you first need to set your filter. If you change your item filter, if you leave your filter on the default items and you don't have anything in there, when you toss your iron ingot into the item hopper, it's going to flow through, get sucked into the chamber, and then immediately get sucked out the other side. And then the item duct will grab it and put it into the chest. Let me show you that again without the item duct in place so you can see why we need it in the first place. It gets pulled in, it gets pulled back out, and there it sits. I can't interact with it in any way. Maybe there's a tool that'll let me get it out of there manually, I don't know, but I know I can set down my item duct and pump it out. And now it should be waiting in the chest. There we go. Now, to make sure that it actually compresses the iron, what I do is I go to the filter and I select item name begins with, and compress is enough because I know it needs compressed iron and that the iron ingot certainly does not begin with that. So now the iron ingot will get pulled into the chamber, and if there's enough pressure, which there's currently a 1.5 bars, that should be enough. Problems? No problems. In however long it takes, which is not very long, that will change into a compressed iron ingot and get sucked out the other side through the output. I'm going to keep an eye on it until it does. In fact, I'm going to add just a little bit more fuel to the situation to make sure that it does. These interfaces do a pretty good job of maintaining pressure, but it is not perfect by any means. And this does require, in fact, 2 atmospheres, which is why it hasn't changed yet. However, now the pressure is rising once again. Once it gets to 2 bars, the iron ingot should change into a compressed iron ingot, and it should leave the chamber all on its own. Alright, I'll come back when that gets closer to 2 bars. Just about at 2 bars now, and poof, it becomes compressed. Well, it will in a second. There we go, and then it immediately gets extracted. And there's a small dip in pressure when that happens. So now I come over here, I grab my compressed iron ingot, and I look up that acid bucket that I wanted in the first place. So this is etching acid bucket, so I want to change this over to item name begins with etching. And I need a bucket of water, 2 spider eyes, 2 creeper plant plastic, 2 rotten flesh, and 2 gunpowder. I believe I have all of that over here in my chest. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm going to grab the bucket of water from my crucible. Now, all I should need to do is toss in you, and you, and it will slowly cycle all of those items in. Once they are all in there, it will require 1 bar of pressure to complete the task. Now you can see this is not currently burning, so you can watch every time the pressure goes in and out, loses just a little bit. Yep. About 700 milliliters of air is being lost per cycle, I believe. Anyway, let's keep an eye on this. Almost done. This is actually kind of fun. And those speed upgrades that I made before are currently living in the pressure chamber interface, one in each of them. Because These can only be upgraded with speed, and it will cause the floodgates to move faster, meaning more items can be moved faster, and also you lose less speed. Wow, never mind. Not speed upgrades I made. I must have gotten those from a quest or reward bag. Because dang. Oh, here we go. It looks like I could have interacted with it by hand there. Yep. I think I could have grabbed it from here. I was messing around with it earlier and manual was not really working for me, but this works just as easily. Plus, it's kind of nice that I can just toss a stack of whatever I need in there and then walk away and it takes care of it for me. All right, so that quest line required the etching acid bucket, compressed iron ingot, an emerald, and a bit of plastic. Don't know if I have an emerald. I do. I have just the one, which is perfect. And that plastic looks like creeper plastic. I don't know if I can use other kinds of plastic, but I'll try. So I'm going to grab a rain plant seed and a creeper plant seed, because I have more creeper plant seeds than anything else. And I'm going to set this guy to item name begins with plastic. Awesome. Now I'm just going to toss these in. And they should convert over to plastic very quickly. You can still hear things moving. There we go. All right, we'll try the rain plant first. Manual submit. Nothing. Yep, I do in fact need the creeper plant plastic. And there we go. Now I can claim my empty bucket and my PCB blueprint, which will allow me to construct the UV box. So let's get that going. What do I need for the UV box? Fine. UV light box. It's going to require 4 more compressed iron ingots. Well, as you can see, I am out of iron. As such, it's time to get my processing system back up and running, as I promised I would be getting to last time. You can see I've got my high oven mostly torn down because I'm planning on automating that with Steve's factory manager this time around. And I want to show you how that's going to work, because I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be fun times. So first things first, I don't like the look of the cracked bricks that we got from the world. So I'm going to make myself a chisel head with a flint chisel. And I'm going to grab a stick. And in my tool station, I'm going to make a very simple flint chisel. And then that's just a case of changing this stuff into... Hang on, it told me I could do this in NEI. Did it lie to me? Why does it seem like I'm eating the chisel? The chisel always seems to act a little weird. Alright, so scorched bricks. Huh. Weird. Okay, so uses. Scorched stone, chiseled scorched bricks, fancy scorched bricks. Okie dokie. And could have sworn that I saw the cracked scorched bricks in there. I guess I was wrong. Alright, well, that's okay. So clearly we're going to be stuck with the cracked scorched bricks, but what we're not stuck with is this seared stone in smooth form. Still asking me and trying to get me to eat the chisel. That's so not what I'm trying to do. But what we can do is we can put the chisel and the seared stone into the crafting interface. We get seared pavers, and then chiseled seared bricks, and then seared bricks, which are my preferred ones. And that was 36 experience. Now you can change out, you know, your seared cobblestone for something that looks a little bit better, in my opinion. The cobblestone itself, I do not believe can be chiseled, but I may be wrong. Yeah. All right, so unfortunately the chisel is not as useful as I thought, and I am going to be stuck with the relatively ugly cracked scorched bricks, unless I want to spend a lot of time making clay, turning it into bricks, and then building myself a cleaner oven. I might do that off camera. I do need a little bit more oven material than I have. In fact, I need to break this block. And much more importantly, I need to refill my camel pack. There we are. That'll do for the moment. we are going to set the scorched drain right there. Because now I can actually interact with it out in the world without having to dig down at all. And, much more importantly, we're going to be putting scorched ducts up this side. Right here and here. Now, for now, we only really need to interact with one, but I'm going to set it to interact with two. And we're going to go another layer or two up. Later, when I make more of the scorched bricks, I will be able to expand this further and even add more ducts into it. At the moment, though, this will do just fine. Now, the big problem that we're going to run into with this is we need to set the ducts before we can put down the inventory cable. We're going to have to keep in mind how we've set each of them. This bottom one is going to be the ingot-looking interface, which you can see on here is the input for smelting. This middle one is going to be the little flame-looking interface, which you can see is the input for cooking. Or, sorry, not cooking, the input for fuel. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, if I set this back down here, bum. Okay. Now we're going to go over to Steve's Factory Manager. This is exactly the way I left it. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new command group. This command group is going to be named Smelting. And we're going to save it. And in that command group, we're going to create a brand new trigger, because trying to run everything off of this emitter is going to cause a lot of lag, because it fires every single command every, like, tick or so. Or at least every redstone tick. On this trigger, we're going to leave the interval at 1 second, because you can't go below that. There's no fractional seconds. And that'll be plenty. And we'll just have it on interval. That's fine. Every interval, it is going to input from the gold chest for now. Later on, we'll change this around. And items, we're going to whitelist ore. Dust. For the time being. This will get altered later. So tin ore dust, nickel ore dust, which I'm unlikely to have anytime soon. Aluminium, lead, not osmium. We don't care about osmium. Platinum, copper, gold, iron, and I believe that's everything, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That doesn't seem like everything. What am I forgetting? We can find out by going to crafting. Because this final crafter is doing... Alright, so we've got platinum, we have nickel, we have aluminium, silver, lead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tin, copper, gold, iron. 9. What am I missing? Terrible at this. Tin, copper, gold, iron, nickel, aluminium, lead, platinum, silver. I don't have silver. Why do I not have silver? I just skipped over it for some reason. All right. Now, because we've whitelisted our input, we don't care about whitelisting this output. Oh, actually, yes, we do. This is what's going to happen. We're also going to add charcoal, specifically blocks of charcoal. And we are going to link this input to this output. And we're going to need one more output besides this. So this output is going to target inventories, and you're going to need to scroll all the way down. We know that the bottom one, which is going to be the closest of them, is the target for our ore dust. So we actually want that inventory to come last. And I'll show you why in a moment here. We put the next output instead in between here. And this is going to be renamed to fuel. And the inventory will be the further away of the two scorched ducts. And yes. And this is going to be whitelisted to the block of charcoal. Now, any of the blocks of charcoal that end up in this system, unless we end up over, like, I think we would need more than 10 stacks. Will get dumped into here, and then anything that's left will get put into this output, where we will leave the blacklist, so that'll only be ore dust. And that'll be fine, that's all we need to do for the moment. Now if we go take a look, we should find that this is already filled with gold ore dust, silver ore dust, and lead ore dust. And all we need to do is add some fuel. But we don't even need to add it to the primary area, we just need to dump it into the gold chest where everything else is in our crafting system. And I need to make some charcoal. Alright, I'm going to spend some time farming some trees with my trusty saplings and bone meal. I have plenty of each. And I'll be back once I have a good stash of charcoal, and we can set up the rest of this. See you soon. Alrighty folks, that took a bit more poking about than I thought it would, but now we're in a good spot. So here's what we're going to do. First things first, we're going to grab this drain from the side. And we're going to move it back here. Hang on, where'd you go? There we are. Put the bricks back there, put the drain back here. And for now, we're going to stuff a seared faucet on it and a casting basin underneath. In the long run, though, we're going to have a collection of casting basins going up this side. I would like to have it right here. It would save me one servo and one fluid duct in the long run, but I don't think it's really convenient for me to do that. So instead, what's going to happen is it's going to go right there. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Set those up in a pillar. And we're going to start this stuff melting. So the block of charcoal goes in there and gets taken out, put into the proper duct, and then ends up in here. Now there's no redstone signal, so this won't fire at the moment. I believe there would be a fancy way to set up a detector, to set up a condition so that the high oven will only get a redstone signal from the emitter when it has ore to melt. However, I've not actually figured out what that is yet. If you have advice on exactly how I would manage that, please tell me below. I'm interested. I just don't have the time to do that research right this moment. But it should be possible, unless I'm imagining things entirely wrong. Alright, let's get at least one more lever. So I can slap that on the side of the high oven and get that running. Now, the reason we need 9 casting basins is there are 9 different kinds of metals that can come out of this. Iron, gold, aluminum. Well, iron, gold, copper, tin, aluminum, lead, silver, platinum. That was 8. But I'd forget. I know I forgot something. Maybe I only needed 8. I do this every time. Every single time. Crafting. There we go. So, platinum. I got nickel. That's the 9th. Nickel. There isn't any nickel right now for me to do, but that's okay. Alright. We're going to let this stuff melt. When I have some liquid metal to work with, I'll be back to show you how I'm going to filter everything. Alrighty folks, one minor redesign and a couple minutes of me forgetting to hit record later, we have a slightly different layout. So I decided against having the tall tower of casting basins because it's just silly. I'll be able to get at more of them this way and set up more of them if I so desire. So what I have here is I've got one with lead in it already because I had whitelisted lead, but let me show you what I'm doing here. I have a fluid duct going into each of them. Steve's Factory Manager can handle fluids, but it cannot pull out of the scorched drain itself. So we're going to do a standard fluid duct into the casting basins setup, and we're going to take each one of them, and we're going to whitelist the proper metal. And I'm using another hardened portable tank that I made for myself, just a bit of copper and invar for that. It's pretty cheap at this point. This one currently has 5184 gold in it, which is actually quite a bit. So now if I put that right there and I can start dumping that into here, that'll start casting out the gold that's already in that tank. And what I'm going to use are transfer nodes, and the transfer nodes are going to suck out of the casting basins and place into this chest right here. Hang on. And actually, there's no way for me to set it to not pull from, not to connect to that when it's there. But that's okay, because as you can see, the gold blocks end up in that chest eventually. That's the important part here. I'm going to have a transfer node on all of these, and they will happily connect to each other, which is great. Less effort on my part. Now this, I don't believe it should detect the rapid item valve or the block gate as a valid inventory. But just in case, transfer pipes and transfer nodes are multi-part compatible. So what we're going to do, so we're going to, have I made a saw in this map yet? I do not believe that I have. We're going to go get ourselves a bit of flint from somewhere. I'm sure I have some. And we're going to make ourselves some covers or panels or whatever they're called. I think the smallest ones are covers. There we go. And we'll use that to protect our factory manager from connecting. And if these are not multi-part compatible, well, I'm about to make a complete fool of myself. But you know what? That's every day. There we go. Bamf. And can I get past there? There we go. Bamf. Now it's only connecting to the bits that I want it to connect to. Awesome. So we're going to grab that up. And eventually, if we end up having another casting basin here, we honestly don't even need this transfer pipe. It'll all be done with transfer node items. Now, to make these transfer nodes, I did need to go out into the world and hunt down some Endermen. Because I honestly am not going to spend 9 redstone when I can spend 1 ender pearl. I'm hoping that I will come along a better setup for ender pearl gathering later. I've already got some ideas in mind. Alright, so that takes care of our gold, and it empties out our tank. Now we can get the lead whitelisted again. The great part about this seared faucet, you can pour straight out of this casting basin into the top of the tank. It'll work as kind of a slow pipe into basically any valid tank inventory, including the hardened portable tank here. And we're going to grab that, put you back onto here, because we have more plans for this. All right, so we should already have you. We whitelist you with the lead, and then we dump the lead back into that casting basin to await more. Okay, so now all I need to do is get, you know, all of the other metals ready. Oh, and those are glowing now. Good. Oh, you know what's happening? This redstone signal is transmitting through this block into the scorched duct behind it and stopping it from being able to input. So we need to make sure that the lever is over here. That's interesting. So, Alright, I got some ideas on how I can use that to, you know, set this thing up even better later. For right now, though, I just want to get the rest of these whitelisted and be on my way. So I'm going to, honestly, just pour a little bit of silver. You can turn it off with another right click. And I'm going to continue down the line, and I'm going to get all of these whitelisted. And once this is done, and the thing is ready to run from here, I'll be back to show you the rest. See you soon. Actually, real quick, one more thing that you can do. If you find that your high oven is filling up rather quickly, and this one is, you can set this thing, make sure you go through and set each of them to whitelist. When you whitelist nothing, nothing will go in. So now you can already happily connect it up to the fluid ducts, and it's up to you if you want to move them in such a way that they go underneath. Honestly, I'm going to be hopping up on top of them anyway, so it doesn't matter to me any. I am missing it here. I need a lever. There's a bit of cobble right there. we're gonna make this happen. Maybe we're gonna make this happen. Apparently I have the dumb today. So there we go. And now, as you can see, I am completely wrong, and whitelisting nothing does not actually work. Alright, so now I'm going to spend time fixing this mess that I have created, and then finish the rest of that. Back soon. Okay, now that we're being a little less dumb about it, what you can do instead is you can set the ones that you're not currently using to output mode, and then when you input into the system, it'll only go into the one that it's actually allowed in. That's a little bit better. Also, there seems to be a redstone signal coming through to here from somewhere. I'm not actually 100% sure where. It may be being transferred on the transfer node, but I'm not certain where it's coming from. So that's a little bit odd that I haven't figured out yet, but hey, I'm hoping one of you will be able to tell me that I'm overlooking something incredibly obvious and that it's coming from an easily identifiable source if I were just paying enough attention. Okay, so as I said, back soon. Okay, folks, that gets the 7 metals that I do have current access to whitelisted. I don't have nickel and platinum on hand at this time, as those are only really available from working with gravel, which I have not started doing yet. But that is definitely next on the list. Oh, hang on, did not realize that my pack was just about out. So, let's see what we've got going on now. So we're loading fuel and ore dust into the high oven automatically. And we are pumping all of the fluid metals out and into these basins, where they will be turned into blocks of metal. You could even make this fancier by including a set of hardened portable tanks or even larger portable tanks as kind of holding reserves for the various metals. Set it up so that they whitelist in the various metals, and the only way to get from the high oven into the basins is going through the proper tanks. I can show you that system another time if you'd like. Let me know in the comments below. Right now, though, let's turn this whole thing on and show you what's going to happen. So, as you can see, we are getting more resources. They are popping up every occasionally. They're either going into this chest or getting filtered into the proper barrels. I'm just going to wait until... Oh, there we go. We saw some ore dust pop up. It disappeared and went into here, where it immediately gets melted and put into the appropriate basin. At the speed that this thing can run, it should easily be able to keep up even with just these fluid ducts, but we're going to speed it up in a little bit here. Pretty nifty, huh? All right. So that is a pretty decent set of resource creation. The next step would be to set up some more barrels and have it set to take the blocks from this chest and put it into the barrels. Also get barrels for the rest of these materials, such as flint, eggs, lapis, raw fish, glowstone, diamonds, redstone, all of that. Oh, and blaze powder. Can't forget blaze powder. However, the immediate concern, the thing that we need to do most, is actually going to be getting gravel processing going. We don't need to sieve sand. If we take a look at what sand can do for us in a sieve, well, I mean, Certus quartz is neat, but we're getting Certus quartz dust, which we can transform back into the proper, the original thing. Other than that, sand doesn't do a whole lot for us. Cocoa beans, cactus seeds, we can do a little bit of sand manually to get those. Sulfur's kind of nice if we decide to go big on pyrotheum. Limestone, I guess, would be a fun building material. Yeah, sand's not that important. Gravel, on the other hand, is exceedingly important for diamond, emerald, and platinum. All right, we're going to turn this off for now. Now, one issue. When you turn it off, it leaves 3 or 6 dust there. If you want to stop that from happening, all you need to do is add a... Well, let's make another command group for it, and we'll just toss it off in the corner. We're going to name this Cleanup. And the only thing we're going to put inside is a basic pulsing trigger and input from the rapid item valve. Blacklisted, so there's nothing in it. And an output to the gold chest for now. We may change that later. There we go. That's it. Now, after about a second, all that stuff that gets left there will get picked up. Oops. There we go. See, disappeared after it landed. And we actually don't even need that to run all that frequently. There's no reason at all to have this interval on 1 second. We can set it to 10 instead. Every 10 seconds, this device will attempt to pick up anything within about 3 blocks of the rapid item valve. Which, not a big deal. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with the state of this situation. I have some more plans for improving it moving forward. But before I do that, I really need a good, constant source of gravel. And to get a good, constant source of gravel, my options are limited. I can pulverize cobblestone, well, I guess netherrack, or I could hammer it. Thing is, hammering it uses resources, and I only have the one autonomous activator right now. I'm not a big fan of that option. So we need to get ourselves up to a pulverizer to really improve our ore processing any further than we already have. It is possible to do right now with the... Oh, where'd it go? Is it in here? I left an autonomous activator somewhere. With the one autonomous activator you are given, but we're right on the cusp of being able to create everything else that we need anyway. The major reason for even running this machine right now was to get the metals that we needed to progress further. Speaking of that further progression, the next step along the way is to make that ultraviolet light box. So let's look at the light box recipe. Pretty cheap. The big deal is that I needed at least 6 compressed iron, and I had basically 0. Well, now I have 11 blocks of iron. I'm going to go convert some of that into compressed iron. We'll do 20, because why not? It's not like I don't have the materials or the ability to make more. And once that's done processing, and I'm ready to complete the next quest, I'll be right back. But first, let's check out what we got in that good reward bag last episode. Oh, hey, look at that. More ore dust, including some platinum and some nickel. That's actually fantastic. Here, we're going to go toss this stuff in there. So we'll do the platinum and the nickel first, because these are going to be a bit of a pain. And I can show you exactly what I've been doing to make the whole thing work. You'll note that I have... hang on. You'll note that it's nighttime. Let me sleep through the night. You will note over there that I have 2 spaces yet for more metals, and that's where the platinum and the nickel are going to go. It's actually pretty fantastic finding 12 nickel and 12 platinum worth of stuff right off the bat like this. With those in here, those did not get put into here. Or, yes, they did, but they... Oh, hello. Die. Okay, that's better. Where were we? You are holding molten... You don't even know what you're holding right now. Okay. That's actually kind of funny. So, hang on. Silver, gold, just regular dust, lead. I'm missing some molten nickel and molten platinum that I've gotten off to somewhere. Nothing's coming in there. Let me sort this out, and once I do, then I will return. Back briefly. Well, I'm sure some of you saw it, but that was a big derp. I tossed them into the wrong chest. So I put the platinum in here, and then it actually gets sucked up and put into the proper spot. Yup. It's one of them days, folks. Apologies for the derpiness of this video. It's just how it's gonna be, I guess. So you should be able to put the portable tank right down there on top of things, and it should flow in even from the bottom. Or I could be full of it. That's also an option. There we go. And as you can see, now we have our fluid platinum molten in there. We're going to take this over to the spot right here. Set that on. Turn you to outputting on both of these. And then we can get that last casting basin set up for nickel. Actually, hang on. Before I do that, I want to make sure I actually get nickel into my tank. I'm running very hot right now because I'm near a number of blocks that cause extra heat. There we go, molten nickel. The problem with this particular mod and all that, you cannot accurately set your heat issues to only do, like, powered blocks. It's basically an all or nothing thing. There we go. Whitelist our nickel. Excellent. And now everything is golden. The entire thing is set up to handle all 9 of the major metals. In fact, all 9 of the metals in this pack at all. I am very, very happy. Okay, back soon, folks. All right, let's get this thing crafting. To do so, first off, pressure tubes. Secondly, a whole bunch of redstone lamps, which requires 3 glowstone to make 3 redstone lamps. And there we go, UV light box. Now, this thing takes a long time to process. We're gonna go set it down in the world, over near the rest of the PneumaticCraft stuff. Toss in the empty PCB. Oh, actually, this needs pressure. Add air to input. Come back here. We'll take it over here and toss it right there. Yeah, that'll do. For now. We'll do better another time. It's interesting watching the differences in the way these things work. In any case, this needs to be, as you can see, up over 1 bar, and it progresses very, very slowly. We can speed that up, however. We do have a couple of speed upgrades, which are currently living in my pressure chamber interfaces, that were given to us so generously by Iskander earlier along in the quest line. As you can see, it's not a huge help, but it's something. It's actually looks like it may have about doubled the speed. Anyway, be back when that reaches 100%. Actually, correction, I am well over time. So, between this time and next, I will let this finish processing in the light box, and we'll be back to finish off that quest line and maybe get some proper machines started. However, until then, I think I'll burn my way through the rest of this dust, get some more metals saved up. I like this machine. Very happy with it. We will be doing more with Steve's Factory Manager in the future. Don't worry, this entire system is going to be expanded upon, refined, and improved. But for the time being, it's pretty good. Oh, all I did here was I ran some stone covers along here and stuffed this guy on top so that it keeps the fluid duct separated a bit and things won't... I hear that helps a bit with processing cycle times. I'm not 100% certain. I haven't done the Opus investigation to be certain of that. In any case, thank you very much for joining me. See you next time.